Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right. All right, folks, we are here. I had to prepare that audio on the fly, so we have a green screen in the back of me. Anyhow, we are there, we are there, we are there. How's everybody doing today? Today is going to be one of those days. I am late, and why am I late? You know, we had a very, very, very long rehab today, but you know what's important? We are here. You should have seen me doing the mechanics to get that picture and that audio in. It was crazy, but we did it. Jumped into the house, got it done, and ready to go. Anyway, El Señor Radnen is with us today, and he already has saved the day. Justice Stephen Breyer to retire from Supreme Court, paving way for Biden appointment. The liberal justice decision to step down after more than 27 years on the court allows the president to appoint a successor who could serve for decades. The Supreme Court will continue to skew conservative regardless. Yes, because it's a one-for-one replacement, folks. It's a one-for-one replacement, so we don't get that bite that we really want, you know. But yeah, it's okay. We can live with that as long as we don't lose another one, right? Segundo tópico. Etapa. More than 2/3 of Omicron cases are reinfections, English study. The risk of reinfection with Omicron is 5.4 times greater than it is with the Delta variant. This is news I didn't want to hear. Meaning that the pandemic is likely to have another Omicron wave in the months to come. Not if people do their jobs, but we know there won't. All right. Joe Manchin internationally reviled over climate obstruction. What the Americans do or don't do on climate will impact the world, and it's incredible that this one coal lobbyist is holding things up. Solomon Huck, director of International Center for Climate Change and Development, said it will cause very bad consequences for us in Bangladesh, unfortunately. Rising sea levels, drought, landslide, and flooding are just some of the climate impacts that are already displacing people in low-lying Bangladesh, and coastal drinking water has also been contaminated through salinization driven by sea level rise. You know, as the water rises, it gets to the water table because the water table, it's higher, right? and it pollutes the water table. You get it on top, it goes down. Absolutamente sí. What's going to happen in Bangladesh in just the next 2 decades will be an international flashpoint, as there are roughly 30 million Bangladeshi people who are likely to be displaced. Continuando, on the side of the people, Nina Turner launches new congressional run in Ohio. And this time she better come on our show. I've had Nina Turner on 3 times. And this last time, for some reason, I couldn't get Nina on. You know, I saw her on MSNBC like 10 times while her PR guys are telling me, oh, she doesn't have an opening. Give us a call in 2 weeks. Give us a call in a week. And nada, niet. Come on, Nina. We're on your side. Nina Turner said in a Wednesday statement announcing her bid, we can get an agenda through Congress that puts working families first but is being blocked by a handful of handouts. Obstruction of the Democratic agenda is hurting Greater Cleveland and the next Congresswoman. I am going to fight back. I look forward to soon having yet another progressive in Congress who will stand up for the needs of the people. And that's what we got to do, folks. Don't let anybody fool you. They want you to believe that this election has already been called. What I want to tell every American citizen is no. Democratic primaries. I did a debate last night with Democratic folks on the local level. They were on the precinct level. There were 7. I interviewed 4, but there were 7 of them that are running in that race. There's 1 Republican right winger that's going to be the opponent. Look, folks, we have the opportunity to elect people who are speaking to the audience. One young man came to mind who showed the empathy, the impetus that we'll have if we really address the people. So don't let anybody fool you like, oh, it's a foregone conclusion. All these old Congress people are retiring. Let me tell you something. I like some of them that are retiring, but let me tell you something else. They are retiring because they don't want to do the work to go earn the vote. Everybody say, oh, well, you are not going to, we drew a district that is very Republican. Yeah, true. That has voted very Republican, but not that has Republican proclivities. It's Nashville. Come on, Cooper. It's Nashville. You can actually go and talk to people. And that is what they don't want to do. Everybody thinks we're going to throw some commercials, some ads on air. We're going to go ahead and send some flyers out, and that's the name of the game. You know who I see win? That person like Cory Bush. Cory Bush went door to door. Cory Bush overthrew an establishment. I try to get Cory Bush on air as well. It's hard getting past their media folks, I tell you. It's hard. When you have a small program, they want the bigger bang for the buck, not realizing that the sum total of small programs give you the whole thing, right? But anyhow, so that's what went down. Anyhow, welcome aboard AVQ. Welcome aboard Yvette Avery Herod, our union specialist, our union hero. Welcome aboard Melanie Keenan. Yes, for a while I left you waiting for this crazy face because, you know, let me tell you what really happened. I rushed in here. You know, I had taken my daughter to rehab, and we got back late. She had one of those 4-session rehabs. And then, of course, on the way back, she's like, Daddy, you have time. Go get me some Chipotle. So we went to get the Chipotle for her. And you know what? I still had time. I come and I got everything ready. And I said, because today is going to be, you guys are going to tell me the subject, and then I'm going to run with it, right? But here's the funny thing. I forgot to plug the damn USB in. And on the USB is what? The mic and the camera. So here I am fiddling to try to go ahead and make this up. But thank you guys for hanging around. Thank you guys for waiting. Love you guys because I couldn't do this without you. Anyhow, and you know, I don't lie, man. I tell you as it is. I screwed up the beginning of this show. I completely and entirely just simply screwed up. Forgot to plug a damn USB in. Anyway, Eric Hayes says, nice shade of green. You like the green, Eric? I prefer the books, but I am scared to go ahead and put the green screen on because I may be doing it in real time and something may go haywire. So I'm going to leave it alone for now. E2247 says, hello relatives, today's visit will be the greatest ever visit. You know, that's why I love you at E2247. Every day gets greater and greater and greater. But be careful, you know what happens? You know, mass expands, it grows on a cubic level. Areas are square, mass cubic, you know, greatest day ever. Greatest day is more than cubic, you know? All right, just playing with you, man. Eric Hayes says, truth hurts in Harris County as people victims' rights are pushed aside by the elite woke Dems leaders. I love the new word that everybody's using, woke, woke, woke. What is more woke than saying the government is going to do something to you? When you are the government. When you are the government. Anyhow, AVQ says, yeah, I don't have that much to talk about today. Slow news day. It's never a slow news day, ever. You know what? You know why we think it's a... I'm glad you said that, Brother Rudnan. Let me tell you why. We think it's a slow news day because the only news we cover are things that we think Americans want to hear. But don't you think America wants to know that China right now has a large footprint in Africa and it's doing things in Africa that many folks in Africa like? That they're building roads, that they're building bridges, that they're building infrastructure throughout Africa in mutual deals, right? Of course, we know there's some corruption there, and we know there's some other angst that you know, if you go on to TikTok or YouTube or these other things, you can find some of the bad parts of that deal. But you remember when it was America, in order to build rapport with the rest of the world, was out there building and doing all these things? Well, we are too busy fighting. We're too busy building bombs. We are too busy doing all these things, right? So we have a country that don't talk much. You don't hear China saying, we are the big bad guy or anything like that. They're just doing. They're in Panama, they're in Costa Rica, they're in Nicaragua, they're in Bolivia, they're in Ecuador. They're all over the place, right? Investing all the dollars that we give them because we want them to make the goods cheap. They isolated from 75% of their population and invest it throughout the world to build rapport. Wow. Do you want to know if there's a lot to talk about, Brother Rudnan? There's so much to talk about. Did you know that in Venezuela, what was the real reason? You know, everybody about here talk about Venezuela being terrible, right? And Maduro is terrible. But Maduro is a product of capitalism, right? So was Hugo Chavez. Nobody wants to talk about that part. They just want to talk about the negative part of what those guys have done. But they didn't tell you that poverty took a dip during Ortega, not Ortega, hear me, Ortega is from Nicaragua. During the guy before Maduro, I just named him Hugo Chavez. They didn't tell you that. All right, anyhow. Continuing, Daniel Lado says, so the leftist plan to pack the court still viable? I would love us to rebalance the court based on the packing that was done by El Señor McConnell. So yes, Mr. Lado, the leftists, and I will cop to being a leftist, I would love for them to go ahead and not pack the court, but rebalance the court to its natural state, to what the American population says it really wants as the people who will judge them, or interpret the Constitution is actually the right word to use. E2247 says, today's democracy, Disneyland spotlight is on. Biden is stable, full of cabinet officials from whom we hear nothing every single day. Cry havoc and let slip the dogs of war. I hope I understand what you're saying. We need a whole lot of people out there telling what we've done, how we've succeeded. That's what we need, folks. Michael Rodden said, Nina Turner, you've been requested. Come on by. Hey, and if Rodden asks for you, Nina, you better come. Rudnan goes and he throws things all over the internet. So if he likes you, you're good. You're good. You're good. Okay, let's see. Eric Hayes says, progressive turns away because of end results of radical policies changing. For example, San Francisco into a dump. So what do we call the whole state of Alabama? So what do we call the whole state of Mississippi? So what do we call the whole state of... Don't let me continue because I love my Mississippi brothers and my Alabama brothers. But unfortunately, those beggar states, those Republicans have turned them into beggar states where people die, where people at much larger amounts than in any blue part of this country. So yes, there's a mess in San Francisco, mostly because of capitalism. What has the undue rise in prices of homes and prices of real estate done to the average person who cannot possibly afford that? Drive them into the streets to live on the streets. In that we agree. And Eric Hayes, on things like that we should agree. Capitalism kills. Capitalism impoverishes. The type of capitalism we practice, that's San Francisco is a bastion of it. And guess what? Nancy Pelosi is one of the biggest capitalists there are. Nancy Pelosi is. She says it. When they said, Nancy, are you going to pass the law to stop having Congress people who actually make decisions that can affect stock prices, stop investing in the stock market? Nancy says, oh, I'm a capitalist. We're capitalists. She's happy. Look, I like Nancy. She's a strong woman, and she comes out with the necessary progressive policies. So I'll give her a pass on her nature of allowing these folks to invest. But her nature on strong devotion to capitalism, hey, San Francisco is the bastion of capitalism, from the e-stocks to all of that. Everything that is capitalism on steroids is what you get in San Francisco. So whereas, Mr. Hayes, you would like us to say, oh, that is social policies that created the malaise in San Francisco, I'll tell you, no, sir. What you are seeing is capitalism on steroids, my brother. So thank you for bringing that up so that I could actually explain it, sir. I do appreciate your input into our program. We just couldn't do it without people like you, sir, my brother. We'll have coffee when I get back to Houston. Melanie Keelan says, get registered to vote. You heard what Melanie just said, folks? Listen to Melanie. She knows of which she speaks. Paul Fleming says, ATL checking in. Welcome aboard, ATL. Daniel Lado says, so if Biden gets a SCOTUS pick, he better get it done quick after the midterm election. He will not get anyone through a Republican Senate. Wait 3 years and Trump will pick up the next SCOTUS. If you believe Trump is going to be out of jail or not run into Russia for cover, I don't know what you're thinking. I'm assuming, of course, that Democrats are going to grow a spine, Daniel. So, you know, you may be right. You may be right, Daniel. I hope you're wrong, okay? But, Brother Ledo, if Democrats do what I think Democrats should do, Trump will either be in jail, in an asylum in Russia, or you may be right. But actually, I'm going to bet on my progressives doing the right thing. Michael Running says, Cory Bush, you've been requested. Hope you can make it sometime. Absolutely so. Michael Running says, Daniel Lado admitting that Republicans are obstructionists. But that's all they do. They don't have policies. No policies. No policies. That's what it's all about. Thank you, guys. Guys, keep telling me. You shoot a topic out and I'll talk about it. Shoot a topic out and I'll talk about it. But put it like, but if you want me to talk about a topic specifically, say, Egberto, talk about this. Put my name in there so that I know it's not a comment for anybody else or whatever. Just say, Egberto, this is what you need to talk about now. And your wish will be my command. Michael Ronin says, man, there's so much thing as loyal opposition, party over country, is the Republican way. Exactly. And that's the problem with Democrats, right? And then the problem, that's a good thing with Democrats. It's never party over over country. It's always country first, then party. Country first, then party. Let's see. ABQ says, I'll repeat the link near the end of the show so you can get it then. Okay, my brother. Eric Hayes says, China is in Africa, and when the debt is not paid, they take it over. That is how they are conquering the world. You know something, Eric Hayes? You are correct. China is filling a lot of these countries up with easy money, just like our corporations do to the American people and to our government. Let's explain. Right now, Americans used to, as productivity increased, after we got the unions involved and after we got everybody to show that they were stakeholders, what happened? Salaries started to go up, wages started to go up. As productivity went up, so did wages. But Milton Friedman, the new master of capitalism, said, oh, no, 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 no. Your job, corporations, are to do whatever is necessary to maximize the profit for the shareholder, and of course, with that, your big ass bonuses. Okay, cool. What that meant is strangling the worker again. But we also wanted growth. We wanted to have more products sold, etc. If we're not paying them, remember, Ford said back in the early days, the reason he paid a living wage is so that the people who worked could afford to buy the car he sells. Well, that was magnanimous. He wasn't being nice. He was just being practical, and that still applies today. But the capitalists learned something else. They learned something called paper. Manipulation of financial instruments. So, we don't go ahead and give people any more money. No more. We don't increase your wages. It's been stagnant except for this last year under Biden. Under Biden is the first time we've had substantial increase in wages for Americans. And people say, oh, it started under Trump. No, it didn't. What started under Trump was really remodelation. Okay, but let's wait for a minute on that. Here's what happened. They said, you know what? There is another way for we to have our peons buy more stuff to make us more rich. So how do we do it? The magic is called credit. So how? And there's a great piece called, you look it up on my website, Capitalism Hit the Fan by economist Richard Wolff. And I've interviewed him several times, both in person and here on the show. And what they did is as follows. All right, we're going to keep those wages stagnant, but we are going to make credit very, very easy. So you want to buy a house? Go buy a house. No problem. We know you're going to pay for it because you work. You want to buy a car? Go buy a car. In the past, you used to have to put 30-40% down on your home. Nothing. Nada. We even have a 10-10-20 or a 10-10-80. 10-10-80, we put down 10%. We loan you 10% on a high interest loan, and then we give you a mortgage for the other 80%. All kinds of deals it created to let you borrow more money. What happens when you borrow more money? You pay on that home as much as you can, and you try to pay the mortgage, and you put all your money into that home. But when you hit the fan, when the pandemic comes, when the explosion of the bonds that these capitalists put out that falls on their case, when that occurs, you lose your home, right? So they get to keep all the monies that you paid on the home before, and then they sell the home. And what's interesting about that is whatever they lose on the home, you then have to pay in taxes. Folks, if you don't understand the corruption that is our economic system, so when brother Hayes talks about, oh, China is going to Africa and giving them loans and going to all these countries and giving them loans to build roads and all of that. China had the best teacher. It's called America. We don't only do that to countries. We didn't only do that to Costa Rica. We didn't only do that to Panama. We didn't only do that to Saudi Arabia. We didn't only do that to all these other countries. We did it to our own. I don't know if China has started doing it to its own yet, but there's something that I always talk about, and it goes as follows. And it goes like this. You know when you're reaching the end of a system, when you have to eat your own. When, America has always been the land of immigrants, right? And immigrants and the POCs, those were the people that you could take advantage of, extract more from them, still keep your society, because enough of your society is doing well. But here's the kicker. You run out of people to screw. You eventually run out of all them immigrants. And especially when you have a policy that says you don't want more immigrants, you run out of all these people that you can take advantage of. And then you have to start taking advantage of your own, which is where we're at now. So what has happened? My white brothers and sisters who who for a long time in the aggregate, I'm not talking absolute, I'm talking in the aggregate, has done better than everybody else because of the nature of our economy. Now that capitalism needs to eat more people and they've eaten all they could from the others in the aggregate. I mean, there's still an Oprah, there's still a Bill, there's still an Oprah and a few others, right? But that is the thing that is just the exception. In the aggregate, it's still there. It has to eat more people to survive. Where else are we going to get 7% growth in an economy that grows at 2 to 3%? I'm talking over time. You have to take it from somebody. And eventually, the laws of math work. You run out of people to take it from. And our good white brothers and sisters are finally in the firing line along with everybody else. And that is why I said there is a natural alliance to be had against the plutocracy. I always talk about it, and I said, whenever we unite the ghettos, the barrios, and Appalachia, that's a stereotype. But when we get all these peoples together, everybody, the different factionalizations that the plutocracy created, then we can beat them all. I hope you covered that. Anybody wants to get some more detail on that, let me explain a little further later. Anyway, Daniel says, I'm waiting to hear Egberto denounce the Democrat warmongers itching for a war in Ukraine. I've already done that. Leave Ukraine alone. I don't, and anybody, I think you've heard Rudnin talk about that and many others here on our show. Carl Cox says, Democratic politicians, with the exception of AOC, Sanders, and Warren, and a few others whose names I don't recall, Cory Bush, Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, Ayanna Pressley, those are others as well, are more worried about re-election than the suffering bottom 90% of Americans. You're right, Carl Cox. Okay, let's see. Eric Hayes says, a dictator is always evil, always, as so Chavez and Maduro. So that would you have called Donald Trump evil, given that he had all the tentacles in there to dictate in this country? Wow. Robert Davenport. Hola, Egberto Willis. We need to expand the Supreme Court. 100% correcto. You're absolutely right. And Rose Williams is here with us today. She says, hi, everyone. Daniel J. Cohen. We had Daniel on yesterday. Daniel will be on the Pacifica Network on Thursday or Friday. I think I'm doing Daniel on Thursday. Depends on how I get to match the different pieces of the Pacifica radio show. But we played him first here yesterday. Daniel is a hell of an activist here in Houston and throughout the country, along with Indivisible Houston. He's the president of Indivisible Houston. All right, let's see what else we got here. Eric Hayes says, California policy crushes business and law and order and wastes money via taxes, period. Hey, guys, if you are on YouTube, don't forget to give that thumbs up. I need more thumbs up. And also, please do not forget to share on YouTube. Go ahead and thumbs up on YouTube, share on YouTube, join on YouTube, like on Facebook, share on Facebook, share on Twitter. Egberto Willis is my handle. Carl Cox says, crony capitalism only works for the top 10%, especially the top 0.5 in terms of wealth. The rest of the American people be bleeped. You could have said the word in the text. I just wasn't going to repeat it, but I'd love to hear when you say the words. Say your name, say your name. All right. Eric Hayes says, lack of accountability and law and order in San Francisco is the problem. You keep buying the right-wing crap. You keep buying it till they come to eat you. Don't forget, you're next. Tiala Wilson, you're here early, Tiala. Democrats are officially jellyfish, spineless. Many of them are. You're not going to get an argument from me. Squeedo, I'm late for the feed. Squeedo, why are you late? We don't let late people in. I'm kidding. Love you, Barry. Eric Hayes says, if you want Orange Man in jail, then you should maybe put Clinton and Biden there too. Give me specifically what did Clinton do and look, I don't particularly like Hillary Clinton or Bill Clinton. Not because I don't like them mean they belong in jail. They don't. Okay? As far as I know, I don't see anything illegal that they've done. If you have if you think there's something illegal, please let me know. I'll be so curious to know what you think they're guilty of. All right, Carl Cox says, if Trump is in danger of going to prison for the crook he is, he will flee America for Russia or another dictatorship. He's going to Russia. You know, he knows some of Putin's skeletons because remember, Trump was the leader of America with 100% security clearance. Trump know everything about anybody he wanted to know about. Let me get this clear. That's why I laugh when people like Hayes says, "Oh, put Clinton in jail." Every classified piece that he needs to know about Clinton, he knows. He had all clearances. He determined who had clearances. So the reason that Clinton never got any, you know, they talk a lot, but the reason nobody touches Clinton is because there's nothing to touch. Think about it, folks. Critical thinking. Critical thinking. Critical thinking. Robert Davenport says, for the first time in 4 years in the U.S. economy, profits have exceeded growth. Even the corporations are doing better in the Biden economy. It's amazing, isn't it? It is so damn amazing. As I scroll down, did I forget to salute anybody? If I forgot to salute anybody, I want you to send me a message because I like to make sure everybody is covered. Carl Cox agrees 100% with Squido. Danny Sheenan for Sudis. He was there for Wounded Knee Defense T. Karen Silkwood and Iran Contra Prosecution, Defendants Standing Rock, Water Protectors, and much more. Eric Hayes says, Egberto, but don't you want us, as does China, to do things on credit? Isn't this the policy being pushed now? Give free stuff? Mortgage the future of our kids and future generations? Remember, there is always a cost to someone giving free stuff away. Somebody who absolutely does not understand economics. Let's first get a few things straight. The dollar means nothing, okay? The sole definition of a dollar is the faith that anybody who wants to buy something with a dollar has in it. Nothing more. That piece of paper means absolutely nothing. And for those who say, well, it should have had gold behind it. Can you eat gold? What can you do with gold? All this imaginary crap that we've been taught to learn is ridiculous. Oh, I can pay for something in gold. Gold is just a placeholder, right? A placeholder for a trade. In other words, if I have cotton and you have a cotton gin, you don't want my cotton. You want me to buy your gin so that you can go ahead and buy aluminum and metal. So you don't do all of that at the same time. Trading, what they call bartering, is difficult because if you are going to barter, it means everybody has to have the exact product they need at that particular time. But so gold was a stand-in, all right? In other words, I have a piece of gold. If we assert some value for that gold, and I say, okay, I want that bale of cotton. You give me 50 pieces of gold. I give you the cotton gin. And then I take that piece of gold and I go to that guy who sell the metal, who going to allow me to build some more cotton gins. All right, guys. Here's a metal, to give me the cotton gin, and then that guy who did the metal goes ahead and he buys the coke and all that stuff that is necessary to make the steel that I bought from him, etc. That's why you have something as a placeholder. All right? Money is nothing but a placeholder. Nothing but a placeholder. People say, well, gold is scarce. There are a lot of things that are scarce, but you can't eat it. If something happens in this world where we have to self-sustain, corn can become the latest gold because everybody can actually do something with corn. Everybody needs to eat. But gold? So when I hear all these right-wingers ripping their people off by saying, get gold, gold has value, get gold, I laugh. I don't want gold. A piece of paper is no different than a piece of gold, because the value of that piece of paper is backed by America. If that piece of gold is not backed by some country who is willing to fight for it, it means nothing. It has no value. And that is what they haven't taught Americans. It's like diamonds, right? Oh, diamonds are so expensive. We got De Beers in South Africa controlling how much they throw on the market. How valuable can something is if you have one company, one guy controlling how much you put on the market, supposedly to adjust prices. Capitalism is it's a thievery thing, folks. You have to understand how it works to understand that it's a smoke and mirrors. And when you understand it in the reality, you're like, how could we have fallen for this stuff? So when it comes to we are mortgaging. I have used that term before as well, but it's wrong. We're not mortgaging anybody's future. All that money that we have in bonds never have to be paid, ever. It is a placeholder for an economic system. We can go into that some other time. All right, let's see. Daniel Ledo said, I don't think Egberto understands the word voluntary or concept like personal responsibility and accountability. Everybody is just controlled by some mysterious outside force making them make decisions. Actually, sometimes, a lot of times, yeah, we were indoctrinated in a particular fashion. Egberto, are you saying, from Eric Hayes, Egberto, are you saying that there should not be winners? How do you reward hard work? Whoever said I think there shouldn't be winners? When I created ComDRV, I was a winner. I made more money than a lot of people then. Not now. Politics don't pay. Or rather, activism don't pay. So no, but here's the difference. And let me explain it to you, Hayes. I created a product called ComDRV. I told a lot of you know it already. It's a serial communication product. Allow computers to talk to each other, satellites, all that good stuff. And it's still on the market. I have somebody else who every now and then would buy one or two, but they don't make any real money. But I wrote the software. I wrote the manuals. I sold the software. I marketed the software. I did all of that for the software. And for that, I got paid for the software. Here's what the capitalists do, however. The capitalists would come to a guy like me and say, hey, I like that product that you have. I did nothing about inventing it. Absolutely nothing. But you know what I got? I got something called capital. I will buy it from you. I would also buy the guy who competes with you and the guy who competes with the guy who competes with you because I have capital. And I'll take that capital and then buy all of that. And then from then on, I'm going to zoom the prices up of ComDRV after not having a stake in the game. My only input was that I had capital. They do it with drugs. You know, America invests in the initial development in drugs, and then they go ahead and they market it. And they say, oh, we invest so much in marketing and R&D. If that were the case, why is their marketing budget orders of magnitudes greater than their R&D budget? The R&D budget is just so that they can have claim to a patent. No more, nada más. So people, you have to understand how this works. You're not going to hear this on TV. You're not going to hear this on regular, because this blows the system up, right? This says, I didn't realize this is how things work. We've been played for so long. And all of us have been part of the game. I believe in free enterprise. You own your pizza shop, you make the money from your pizza shop. You wrote your software, you earn the money from your software. You wrote a book, you earn the money from your book. All those things are cool. And you still pay taxes, because let me correlate my development of my products. Yes, it came out of my own brain. Yes, I spent hours of years, only 3 and 4 hours worth of sleep. And ironically, I'm doing the same right now, doing videos and activism. But here's the difference. I produced it. That guy who owned the pizza shop, sweat and tears. That guy who owns that small grocery, sweat and tears. That capitalist, niet, nada. He just had capital. And that is the difference between capitalism and free enterprise. You know, China is a great capitalist country. So is America. We have to understand, but in no case has it done right by the people. And when we start to understand these concepts, we will modify our economic system into a free enterprise, but also with a payback. And what is that payback? I developed ComDRV. I can say, oh, I developed that product all on my own. I marketed it. I wrote the books. I advertised. I did everything. No, I didn't. No, I didn't. To which I want to say, thank you so kindly, Texans, Thank you so kindly, Americans. Thank you for having built great universities where I learned about machine language. Thank you, great universities, where I learned about C++. Well, I taught myself C++. Where I learned about Fortran, where I learned about PLM, where I learned about all these different languages for which I program microcontrollers. And by the way, thank you, America, for giving the knowledge to, or the research ethos to Intel, who developed the microprocessors which I program. Thank you, America. And for that, when I make money, I am responsible for paying taxes, for paying it forward. But that is what capitalists don't understand. Their sole goal is what they think they did, which in general is niet, nada. I hope you guys understand this. If anybody has questions about that, I'd love to answer them as well, brothers and sisters. Let's see. Carl Cox, the American people workers would do better with co-op system than with crony capitalism. You know, Al Perovitz, look up that economist. Al Perovitz has some ideas on how we create co-ops where instead of Exxon being owned by a whole bunch of rich shareholders, every single person that works for Exxon, that person who works in the refinery, that person who digs the well, all of them, they are implicitly stakeholders in that venture and deserve all of the spoils. All of the spoils. All of the spoils. Michael Renner, is gold valuable because of some intrinsic property or because it's a rare earth? Mostly because it's a rare earth and people kind of give it value. Okay, let's see. Dollar means nothing to Egberto because you want to just take away. That's nonsensical. Rose Williams says, I would love to see a complete full show representation about capitalism versus democratic socialism and socialist economy. I don't think most people understand this and conflate socialism with authoritarianism because of the fake socialism previously practiced by USSR and China. Rose, you hit the nail on the head. And you know what else is a problem? Open your dictionary to show you how to show you how the tentacles of misinformation is throughout our entire society. And it's the Paul Manifesto was an expansion of that, right? But if you take a look up socialism in a Webster dictionary and look up communism in a Webster dictionary, and tell me if you don't see that they define them identically. I sit down and I say, like, my God, guys, at least give the nuance that it deserves. Okay. Rodnan says the leftist idea about winners and losers that conservatives need to understand. We need to establish a minimum floor, a decent living to which none of our citizens can fall below, despite how badly they might lose, while giving opportunities for those who want more rise. Couldn't have said it any better, Rodnan. Perfect. Puffin says people who love their work to do it for joy. Money is for suckers. If we all have enough work, we'll only be what we want to do. It's amazing, right? Because I was even talking to my daughter about this the other day. My income has dropped 90% doing politics done right and doing this full time. And the one thing that I told her is, while the income has dramatically dropped, you know, we got her through her undergrad, all that good stuff, bought house, all that good stuff. While the income has dropped by 90%, you know what's great? The feeling that one gets that they're doing something positive for society, that you're also empowering people. The one thing I hate people to do is dog themselves. And you see, capitalism make people believe they're not good enough, they're not doing enough, they're not doing what's necessary. If they will just do a little bit more. And look, there are a lot of lazy people out there. I'm not doubting that. But you know what? You go into the middle of the ghettos, the barrios, and Appalachia. You see those people, most of them get up every day at the bus stop for those who don't have cars, walking to work in the cold, digging ditches, doing stuff. People work. Yes, they're lazy people. And what the plutocracy likes to do is to highlight those that are lazy. But most people have pride in doing something and not just wanting a handout. That's what most people do. Most people are good people. But they don't want you to believe that. They want you to feel like The reason you are working so hard is to take care of that freeloader. The reason you are working hard is really to take care of the freeloader. That is a true statement. But the freeloader is the capitalist. Remember that. That is who the freeloader is. All right, continuing. Thanks, AVQ Day. That's somebody else. Let's see. Puffy says, I'm a writer, but I deliver for money to live until my books pay off. You know, look, of course, look, I write books for money. I write articles for money. I ask for people to support. I do this show and collect on this show for money because we have to eat, because we have to continue to pay the light, etc., etc. But we're not going and saying we're going to screw you. It's that simple. Oh, I'm talking about that. It's about that time, right? But let me get through some more of these things because I'll do it at the end. Love what I'm talking about. I don't want to lose the flow. All right, para ver, ¿qué estoy haciendo ahora? All right, I'm going. Too many jobs like oil work are just bad, so they pay you a lot. All right, Eric Hayes says, close the 40% or out of work by choice. Oh boy. You keep listening to the show, Eric. And when I come to Houston, I'm going to take you out to coffee on Politics Done Right's dime. On the PDR Posse's dime, actually. Okay? We're going to go to coffee, brother. All right, it's time for my little thing on my what again? Let's do it. I'm Egberto Willies, as host of Politics Done Right, a progressive radio media show on Pacifica Network's KPFT 90.1 FM Houston that engages all ideologies. I found that our political angst isn't mostly ideological. There is a well-designed effort by many in power to control us. If we are at each other's throats, we are less likely to demand our economic and local wishes. In that light, I wrote 3 books. I wrote the first one titled, As I See It, Class Warfare, the Only Resort to Right-Wing Doom, to describe the entire economy in a manner we can all understand. It highlights why it was designed to pilfer most as it empowers a few, the chosen. The second book, titled, It's Worth It, How to Talk to Your Right-Wing Relatives, Friends, and Neighbors, take it to the next level. After understanding how the system pilfers, it is incumbent that we can speak to our peers to empower a change. The third book, How to Make America Utopia, Take Away the Economy from Those Who Rigged It, gives us a place to land. After learning about our economy that is dysfunctional for most and learning how to engage the other side, we point out what would make an economy that works for all. Each book stands on its own, but together they provide the full picture. Please consider getting one or more. You will undoubtedly learn, be entertained, and help us continue the mission with our blogs, articles, videos, and books. I'm Egberto. Well, so I hope you get the books, folks. You can go ahead, folks, and let's see. If you are on YouTube, please go ahead and click that join button. Hey, Rodney, you're leaving 10 minutes early. I don't have another video, so it's okay. Let's see, YouTube. You can go ahead and click that join button on YouTube to become a part of our PDR Posse on YouTube. That is politicsdoneright.com/YouTube. If you're not on YouTube, let's say you're on Facebook, let's say if you're listening to this on podcast, let's say if you are on Twitter or any other thing, go to politicsdoneright.com/YouTube to become a part of our YouTube PDR Posse. Alternatively, and we also need quite a bit of folks here on, let's see, where am I talking about here? I got to find that other link. On Patreon, Patreon, politicsdoneright.com/Patreon. Politicsdoneright.com/Patreon. The link is in there as well. Please visit us. Click on politicsdoneright.com/Patreon. We also take support via PayPal, politicsdoneright.com/PayPal, politicsandright.com/PayPal. You know how to spell PayPal. Our books, I'll put the link directly into the field. politicsdoneright.com/books is where you can get all our books, and you can also get our hoodies and all that good stuff at politicsdoneright.com/store. politicsdoneright.com/store. Let's see, para ver, and go support. To find all the different ways of support is politicsdoneright.com/support. Egberto, I'm here. 2 comments on YouTube so far. Maybe you can't see them on YouTube. What did you, where? I didn't see you, Tom. Let me see. Let me see if I can find you, Tom. See? You know I can't leave brother Tom out. Okay, Tom, they didn't make it. They didn't make it. The only Tom C comment I have is this last one. Maybe it was too long, or maybe it had some sort of a link that didn't go through, but I didn't see it on my main link. Let's see if we can see your comment on in the actual YouTube feed. I don't know if they blocked it or something, but I'll find out if I can scroll up fast enough to see if there are any blocks. Any blocks? Scroll. Okay, let's see. There is let's see if that's you. I'll show that one. What else I'm going to show? If there's another block. Yeah, there's some blocks in here, and I don't know who they are. It's too far away for me to read, but I can actually see the icon that says show and show. So I'm looking to see if I can show them. Okay, I can show. Well, Tom, I don't see your things in YouTube. I don't see them. Go ahead and type it. Either if you don't type it in Facebook, go ahead and type it in YouTube, but just type it without a link or something, and then we'll go running with it. Yeah, I don't see it, Tom. I don't see it, Brother Tom. Do not see it. Okay. All right. Continuando con el programa. Continuing with the program. Let's see what we got here. Going back to all of my folks. Let's see. Russians need to overthrow Putin, or he has earned a visit from a drone or DEA like we apparently did in Haiti. I don't think that we have a chance of that happening. Did you see from Tiala Wilson? Did you see I ask you to check out Dr. Lane Rowland and give up your opinion? This is the first I'm seeing that, Tiala. So look, if you guys want me to look at something, let me just tell you a few things here. The feed gets a lot of input from a lot of different places, so a lot of things get scrolled past me. If you want me to do something specifically, go ahead and send me a Facebook message directly, or send the email to info@politicsdoneright.com. Send me a direct message, or even send me a message on Twitter. Tag me Egberto Willies on Twitter, and I'll take it up. Otherwise, there's no sure way, my dear brothers and sisters. Okay, continuing to read. I can pay for sure, bud, and would like to meet for coffee and maybe eat too. Ah, you see. By the way, you see, folks, Eric Hayes. Eric Hayes is a good conservative, and he wants to take me out for coffee and a few eats. And you know what I say? Of course, brother. You know you're my brother. We're gonna do it when I get to Houston. All right, let's see. At least Brazil is charging Bolsonaro with genocide. We hope the Supreme Court may. Well, we'll see how it works out. We hope that happens. Bolsonaro said all the same lies Trump did. Well, actually, Trump taught Bolsonaro what to do. And it was effective there, too, for a while. All right, Puffin says, we read that one already. Let's see. Puffin says, is she a good doctor or spreading lies about Trump virus? I don't know, but I'll read what, because Tiala is one of our posse here. If she asks me to read something that maybe she has a proclivity towards, I'm going to take a glance at it for sure, Tiala. And if I have a problems with it, I'll say what the problem is. We are all thinkers here. And what else we are here is we are open to change our minds. So I am open to change my mind if this person says something that warrants changing my mind. If not, I'm open to hope that you will listen to some of us here to possibly have your mind change. So that's respect, y'all. And I think that's what we have to learn to do with everybody, right? Okay. What else have we got here before we go? We only have 4 minutes. And is there anybody that came into the program that I haven't yet saluted? May Wood. Welcome, May Wood. I didn't see you before, May. From Long Beach, California. You do sound like a libertarian, even though every one of their ideas theorist programs have been proven to be false, that they don't work. And just as the neoliberals' ideas, theories, and programs have proven to be a disaster, so has theirs. And Maywood is absolutamente correcto. Absolutely right. All right, anybody else that I didn't salute that I need to say hi to? Because we're going to be closing this baby down in a couple of minutes. So anybody want me to make a comment on anything real quick before I close her out? Al Rose says, Hola Eggy. There's a backstory behind the Hola Eggy, and it has to know exactly with my name, Egberto. Eggy, listen, Rose. By the way, folks, my brother from Panama, Al Rose, came and visited both myself and Ashley here in DC when he was doing the tour of all the statues and the tours of all the monuments. And he brought us a great Chinese meal. Thank you so kindly, Senor Al Rose. Thank you so kindly. We enjoyed it. And Ashley really enjoyed talking to your wife, who is a very good nurse, originally también de Panama. We enjoyed it very, very much. And in fact, she still talks about her. Let's see what else we got here. Anyhow, folks says, Ting Ting says, I'm listening to you because of comment you said about listening to others. Ting Ting? That's an interesting name, though. You know, I mean, when I saw the name Ting Ting, I want to say, okay, please don't be a troll, and you're not. Thank you so kindly for being here. Please share and also talk. Give us your point of view. I want to hear it. Ting Ting. All right, let's see. Puffin says, Jesus told Judas a secret prophecy that ends war and begins democracy. Church of Judas. Really? Maybe above my grade. Puffin says, blessings to Ashley and your family. I hope she keeps doing well. She had a good, hard rehab today and also had my butt working on many different avenues today. But you know what? That's what we do. We work for each other, right? All of us. That's what we do. That's what we do. Anyhow, if nobody else has anything that they want me to talk about, that they want to say, you got about 50 seconds to tell me something that I'll mention. You have 50 seconds to make yourself known so that I can salute you. Yes, look it up. I explain it in my book, The Book of Judas. I told you, if you have a book with a link, as a member of the PDR Posse, I'll even put it in my newsletter. So come on, Puffin, if your book is making sense, send it off. I'll fix you up. Vince Lamb, my coffee party board of director partner of the past. How are you doing, Vince Lamb? Love you, brother. You know, always did. We always had fun all over the country, from Chicago to Colorado to DC to Portland. Where else have we been? All over the place we went for solving the country's problems. Eric Hayes says, Egberto, what's your impression of our commission's court in Harris County? We have a competent commissioner's court. That's my impression. Very competent. First led by a very smart woman, Lina Hidalgo, who will win. Again, Utah. I forgot Salt Lake City, Vince. That's right. We did our last one in Utah. That was a great one in Salt Lake City. You're right about that. Okay, let's see. That was a couple years ago. Oregon, that too. We've been all over the place, man. That was a wonderful experience, and I continue to work with Coffee Party, as does Vince and many of our board of directors of the past. That is really great. All right, fine. Said hi to you on Twitter, and hey, folks, don't forget to follow my brother Pink Use NSEI. That is Vince Lamb. He has a great blog. Check it out. Mia Liev, welcome to Politics Done Right. Thank you so kindly for being here. I got to get out of here, folks. I got to get out of here. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right. And you guys know how I end this baby. I am what? Out! Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right.